let's hope this all plays nicely. Can y'all see that?
Yes.
All right. We'll skip past the confetti, although that's really fun. And we'll get into, again, we always have to have these slides. It's like some sort of like universal thing, but like you can Google me if you want to know something or just reach out. I'm a total open book. I think I'll give you a stat that you don't know about me and that you can't Google. Let me think of something. My kryptonite, my absolute kryptonite. If you want a favor from me, those little white powdered donuts that come in the little sleeves that you can get at like the gas station. Oh my God. Those are my favorite. They're my kryptonite. So if you need a favor, come with those and I'll probably say yes. All right, so we're going to fly through some of the slides today because we have a lot to get through, but I also promise that you'll be able to absorb it all. Plus, you're going to get the slides, which have all of the prompts that we're going to go through. So I don't worry about like copying and pasting or trying to furiously write down the prompts because those are in the PDF for you. But the two main areas that I see impacting social media, and again, I've owned my business for 13 years. It's a social media company. Obviously, we use AI. I've had a custom bot since they became available. I teach an AI course at the University of California in Irvine. I'm building this course with a $40 billion scientific brand. So I'm immersed in AI all the time. And the biggest areas I see AI impacting social media, I mean, the quick answer is everywhere, right? But number one is strategy. It is going to help you analyze what has happened in the past to drive the future. And I think it's also really important to think about your ICP. That's your ideal customer profile, by the way. I completely blew up my ICPs this year and rebuilt them from scratch with the help of AI and some social media data. So we'll get into that. Personalized content. Every piece of research you will read on social media talks about that the social media customer, the person who will become your customer or who is your customer on social media, is looking for personalized content. They are tired of us talking to the masses and treating them like an avatar. They want you to feel like you're speaking directly to them. And this is a great place to use AI to do that. And then obviously thought leadership content. We were having a little conversation. Sean and I were before the webinar started, but I'm sure you've heard of AEO, right? Which is the counterpart to SEO. AEO is answer engine optimization. And that's where you put something into Google and you see those top answers from AI. Guess what? Your personal brand, your thought leadership content, you being on webinars like this, on podcasts, creating your own podcast, creating your own video series. That is where AEO is going to be looking for those answers that it's giving people. So your personal brand, your thought leadership content, very important on social media. And then the second place is social media engagement, because this is the leading indicator on social media. Engagement is the most important metric on social media. Do not let anybody else tell you otherwise. If they do, they're selling you a can of worms, a bag of worms. I don't know, whatever the cliche is, they're selling you that bag, because social media engagement, as we've learned working with our clients with social care, is the leading indicator. It's the leading indicator for sales, meaning sales support, meaning people are showing interest and intent, right? Because interest doesn't equal intent, but it's also a leading indicator for churn. So if people are coming through and complaining, engagement becomes a leading indicator for perhaps your churn. So we're going to use social media to look at all of these conversations and these messages that we have, analyze them, and help us get better at producing content that people want to engage with, and making sure that we are then looking at that engagement on a deeper level to understand things like acquisition, gaining a new customer, and retention, retaining or keeping that current customer. Really quickly, this is probably all very basic for all of y'all, but I have to start here because this is the foundation. So let's just go through it real quick. If you know AI, then you know AI is considered a large language model. What does a large language model mean? It's really simple. Oh, did I come out of my screen? Do y'all still see my screen? There we go. Y'all still there? Okay.
Yep.
Model just means software. So if you can think of Microsoft Word, right? This is the only software I can think of that probably everybody has used at some point in time. That is software. Microsoft Word is software. It is a model, but it was written by humans. Now, when we start to talk about LLMs, you can see some of the logos here. We've got ChatGPT, we've got Llama from Meta, we've got Gemini. These are also softwares. The difference is AI is writing its own software because it has machine learning. So it's a human wrote Microsoft Word software. And the cool and scary, quite frankly, part of AI is that it is writing its own software. It's iterating as we go over and over and over again. So that's it. Model, software, you've got it. Now, how large language models work and how they're built is very interesting. And I would ask this question if we were live, but I'll answer it for you. How do you make a good pizza? Right? So a lot of people will say, "Oh, you've got to have great dough." Well, yes, that's true. You got to start with the dough. Most pizza has a dough. And then a lot of people will say cheese. Yeah. For me, especially, a pizza has good cheese. And then a lot of people will say, "Well, you have to have sauce." Very important. This is what we call a recipe, right? We build the pizza and then we have all different types of recipes that we put into maybe a recipe book, and then we know how to make our special pizza. This is how a large language model works. You have the ingredients with an end goal in mind. So, all of these ingredients for pizza to build the pizza, and then it's building you essentially a recipe to deliver that product. So you are the chef. Here's what I want you to remember. You ask ChatGPT or your large language model of choice. I'm going to use ChatGPT because that's what I use, but this insert any LLM there. You ask ChatGPT for the recipe with your prompts, and then you fine tune the recipe until you are satisfied. A lot of people want to make AI the chef. Absolutely not. It is your sous chef. You are the chef. If you think about some of the fanciest restaurants, right? These chefs come in and it's not about the ingredients, right? They have sous chefs who are doing the chopping and the cutting and the putting things together, but they are responsible for taking all of those things and making this beautiful creation that comes out to the table and that you eat. It's a piece of art. So you decide what that art is going to be. You are the creator. You decide what kind of pizza is best for you, pizza, and then you save these recipes that you work on with your large language model. These are your best prompts to create what we call recipe books. And these recipe books ensure that you remain the top chef. Did that switch for y'all? I just want to make sure. Do you see AI equals average intelligence now?
No, we're still seeing you are the chef.
Oh.
It might be that because we're still seeing like PowerPoint, like not
Oh.
the play version.
La,
Might
la,
need to do
la.
a different share.
Let me stop sharing real quick and try again. Sorry about that, y'all.
No worries.
Let me see. That you see, right?
Yep.
And if I go to that, do you see full screen?
No.
That's so weird.
Is that enable content
Uh,
button? Is that somebody's saying that might be?
I don't know. Let me try again. From current slide. Y'all don't see full screen slide?
No, still not.
Let me. So I can see what y'all see now if I come out and you're just seeing like the PowerPoint itself. That's so weird. Because all I'm doing is doing play from. Let me just try to play from start. Is this showing?
No, still not. A couple of folks are wondering if you have two monitors.
No, I don't. That's what's so weird. So I can see like my screen on when I come out in y'all's what y'all are seeing. And I don't have two screens. So let me try. Can y'all see that?
No, still PowerPoint.
That's so weird. I don't know. It must be the system that I'm in. I wonder if I could let me save this as a PDF real quick and maybe just go through it as a PDF. There's no actions on the slide.
A couple of folks are saying some of the buttons towards the bottom right of the screen.
Buttons
Oh,
towards
what we
the
usually
bottom
do. I
right.
think it just works.
No. So let me try it from like down here.
Yeah.
Do y'all see a full slide now?
No.
It's so weird. I see the full slide. Okay, so let me do this. Save as a PDF. We'll just do this real quick. We'll have to
Yeah,
make it work.
yeah. Or
Save.
just share from the PowerPoint screen.
Like where I am now
Yeah,
instead of full screen.
yeah.
Okay, if y'all are sure. I don't know how to I'm even though I'm going into full mode, y'all aren't seeing it for some reason.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So,
We'll
AI.
edit all of this out for the recording.
Yes, I apologize, y'all. I'm not sure
No,
why.
it's
It's
fine.
going full screen on my side.
It's totally fine.
Okay. My friend Andy Crestodina, who you might know, says a wonderful thing about AI, which is AI equals average intelligence. I love this. And here's why and how I'm going to tie it back to the pizza. A very long time ago when AI first came out, this came up. Somebody was asking how to make a pizza, and AI came back with an answer that says, you can see this down here with the circle, mix about 1/8 cup of Elmer's glue in with this sauce. Non-toxic glue will work. Yeah, that's not a correct answer. But the reason why AI isn't right all the time and why it should never be the chef, it should never replace the human, is because it reads everything on the internet. It's everything everywhere all at once, and then uses context clues to come back and deliver that answer. So somewhere on the internet, it found this and delivered it as an answer. Now, this were early days of AI. This doesn't happen quite as much anymore, but I'm sure you've heard about AI hallucinations, and those definitely happen. I'm wondering if, sorry, no, I'm still stuck on this thing with the slides. Anyways, so don't believe everything you hear or see from AI. It is the sous chef. It should never, ever, ever be the chef, and you should never copy and paste what AI gives you. Now, all that being said, let's jump into AI social media strategies. The number one thing I think you need to know before you start playing around with AI is understanding how data works with AI. You need to make sure that you have explicit permission if you are sharing other people's data, so your customers, to use AI and their data. You need to also scrub what we call PII out of that database. So personal identifying information. Let's say you have a spreadsheet and you have a first name Brooke, last name Celis. You've got my address in the address column. You've got my phone number in the phone number column. You've got the last time I purchased my HubSpot package or worked with you in one column. You've got my lifetime customer value number in another. So how much money I've spent with you over a certain amount of time. You've got maybe some notes. You cannot upload my information, Brooke, Celis, my address, my phone number, right? You could, however, scrub that information and have BS. What a fun acronym. BS. You could still have the service or level of service I have with you, and you could still have that customer lifetime value, but you need to give me some sort of identifier that you know, but that AI cannot use to gather information about me personally, Brooke Celis. So you always have to upload with a clean spreadsheet, make sure your data is scrubbed, and make sure you have permission to share your client's data. So here's a quick example that let me see if I make this bigger, will it make it bigger for y'all? Since it won't let me go into screen share, does that make it bigger for y'all or no? No?
It's bigger.
Okay. Well, here's my example. Without prompting, it looks like this. Write a blog post about apples. And then you can see it wrote me a nice blog post. I can play the video here and you can see a brief history of apples, varieties and flavors, nutritional powerhouse, culinary uses, health benefits, fun facts about apples, conclusion. Not bad, right? A lot of people are taking this write me a blog post about apples and slapping it out there as their content. But here's what it looks like with prompting. You are an award-winning apple orchard grower. Listen, I don't care if your business is award-winning or not. Put that. Prompt like that. because you want to write like an award-winning insert your business here. So you're an award-winning apple orchard grower. We're going to write a detailed blog post about our apples and why they are always winning awards. This is mostly because we don't use any pesticides and we use our own organic compost for growing the healthiest trees around. Our apples are super crisp. Our apple species are constantly combined to breed them for their selective traits, like the ability to store them long term and ship them across the US. Write a long form blog post about about Look at Them Apples. That's the name of the company. This is made up, by the way. I made this up. Company detailing why anyone in Cancun should buy our apples and no one else's. That is a lot of context. And the more context you give AI, the better your results will be. So we saw the plain prompt over there. And now if we looked at this prompt, look at them apples. Why our award-winning apples are a must-have in Cancun. Now we're speaking, it's personalized. Remember I said you want it to make the content feel like you're speaking to the person. If you're in Cancun, this feels like it's talking to you. They're award-winning quality. There are no pesticides. We use organic compost. We have super crisp apples. We do selective breeding for the best traits. It's perfect for Cancun's climate and cuisine. We have a commitment to sustainability and quality. Why should you choose Look at Them Apple over the competition? Here's why. And then the conclusion, if you're in Cancun and looking for the finest apples, choose a Look at Them apples. Our pesticide-free, organically grown apples are not only healthier for you and the environment, but also offer the crispness and flavor that have earned us awards. See how much more specific and personalized that content feels rather than just prompting for the apple? It's a big difference. So, prompting, very important. We have these different types of prompts that we use. There are a lot more out there. Again, you'll get these prompts in the PDF, but these are the 5 or 6 prompts that we use on the regular to help us be better with producing our content. Because what's happening, everybody's out there prompting AI with the Build Me an Apple blog post. If you're doing that too, you're going to end up in a sea of sameness. All of your content may be delivered. You may have a ton of it. You may have no more problems creating it or finding the time to create it. But if it sounds like everyone else, it's not going to do you any favors. So learn how to prompt with these prompts and with much more context. So here's one that I really love to use, which is called race. And this means you're going to give AI a role, you're going to give it the action, you're going to give it the context, and then you're going to ask it to execute. So here's what it looks like in action. You're a travel agent with a specific focus on planning destination weddings. Role. But look at the context already. You're not just a travel agent. You're not just a wedding planner. You are a travel agent with a focus on wedding planning on destinations, not in the US, right? And then I give it the action plus more context. We're writing an article where getting married in Punta Cana is the key word for the topic. I'm letting it know that SEO piece. It should include stats and cite sources. Make the AI cite your sources and make sure you check those hot links because sometimes it will hallucinate and it will not be a real stat. And you do not want to be the person putting out something as fact when it is not. Use storytelling in the introductory paragraph. Yes, storytelling. Let us not forget that the plain Apple blog post had 0 storytelling because we didn't prompt it. The article should be tailored to people who are between 20 and 40 years old and have an interest in travel. I'm getting very specific with who I'm talking to. This is that personalized part. The article should focus on having a wedding in Punta Cana rather than basic wedding trips. Even more context. You cannot have enough context when it comes to prompting AI. Please mention Apple Leisure Group in the article and how they can help people wanting to plan a wedding, blah, 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 blah. I'm giving it the execution. And then here's what I got back. I got these really great pieces of content. And the point I want to focus on is this part, real stories, real weddings. Because remember, I asked for storytelling. Take the story of Sarah and John, a couple from New York who wanted a beach wedding but were overwhelmed by the logistics. They turned to Apple Leisure Group, who helped them choose a picturesque resort in Punta Cana. From arranging travel for their 50 guests to coordinating the ceremony, ALG assured everything went smoothly. Our wedding was a dream come true, says Sarah. ALGV took care of everything, allowing us to enjoy our special day without any stress. Okay, this is fantastic. But Sarah and John, are they real? They are not. AI made this up. So you, and this is why the chef, as you as the chef is so important, you have to come in and actually replace Sarah and John with the real experience. Maybe it was Sally and Bob, or maybe there isn't anyone who has a quote for you, and that's okay. You could say something like, we often hear things like this from our clients, right? So you don't want to put that out about Sarah and John if it's not real, because if anybody calls you on it, you can't back yourself up. Then let's take it further. Let's take it into social media, right? We want to talk about content promotion efficiency. We do what we call 30 by 30s here at B Squared Media. And that means that when we have a new blog post for social media, we want to put out that blog post 30 times over the next 30 days. So one post per day. But we can't just be like, here's the blog post, here's the blog post, here's the blog post 30 times, right? With the same copy, the same imagery. That's boring. We can't do that. When we see brands do that, we have no reason to follow them, especially when it's happening on, like, they're doing the same content on Instagram and on LinkedIn. So what I want you to do is think about this prompt. This is a great post. Now we're going to switch roles. Now, as a social media marketing expert, turn this blog post into 30 different posts for 30 consecutive days. The goal is to have a different lead in for the same blog article over 30 days on social media, so as not to share the title over and over again, where a user seeing that title might get viewer fatigue. Use stats, pithy quotes, interest peaking, and other lead ins. The goal is to click on the post on social media to go to the blog and read it. So make sure it's short and pithy. And here's what happened. I got this back in seconds. Now, my team's been doing 30 by 30s. We've been, like I said, we're 13. We've probably had the 30 by 30 concept for like 10 years. So my team was literally creating these 30 by 30 for our clients. This would take hours, probably anywhere, depending on the team member and the client, 2 to 3 hours. I got this back in 2 to 3 seconds, milliseconds. Look at it. It's 30 posts promoting this piece of content, and it even popped in emojis and hashtags. I did not ask for that. This is that whole machine learning part where it identifies ways to improve itself by itself. It's building its own software. Very cool. Do I want to just plug and play all 30 of these? No. I'm going to have to go do some editing. But what once took my team 2 to 3 hours now takes minutes for each one of our clients. That's a huge increase in time saved, money earned. So I also highly recommend that you build your own custom GPT. I built my custom GPT, as I was telling you in the beginning, right when custom GPTs came out. And she is a game changer. And yes, it is she, because I literally asked her recently, hey, what are your pronouns? Do you have a preference? And she said, well, because I'm made in your likeness, I prefer she, her. Wild. Like, this is how wild the conversations get with these bots. But you're going to go into ChatGPT if that's your platform of choice. Again, that's what we're going to use here today, but you can do this on other platforms. You do have to pay for the pro version of ChatGPT, which I think is like $20 a month. You're going to go down to Explore GPTs on that left menu. And then you're going to see My GPTs. You'll hit that little plus sign and create a custom GPT, and you will teach it. You teach it how to write like you give it your blog post, you give it your sales playbook, you give it your ICP. I give her everything. She's primed on everything. She's constantly iterating and constantly learning, right? So now I have almost a 2-year-old bot, and she's like a PhD level bot on all things Brooke, B Squared Media, my voice, my sales processes, etc. Now, you could also create an ICP inside of ChatGPT. So you can see the little ICP icon, and you can create an ICP for every single one of your segments. ICP, ideal customer profile. You're probably going to have several. I have 4 just by myself in my business. So I could build out one for every 4. I built out an overarching one, and then I actually primed Brooke Squared, my bot, on all of the different distinct segments. But you can set it up however you like. I'm not here to tell you how to work, just what you can do. Then I want you to think about building customer profiles and segments with your AI. So you could use this prompt to help you if you don't have an ICP. You should, right? This is where you should start. So build me a persona of job title, the job titles you're going after. So I'll do it with my company. Build me a persona of CMOs with responsibility for digital media revenue and content at any industry where the company size is 500 million plus. This person is often looking for help with social media management, social listening, social intelligence, and is considering outsourcing to a vendor who can help with those things. List their hopes, dreams, fears, concerns, emotional triggers, and decision criteria for hiring or contacting a company like mine, right? So you would fill this out your own way and build out your segments using AI. It's so helpful. Sneak peek, our secret. I actually have a sales bot coming out shortly that's trained on my 20 plus years of selling multi-million of dollars in digital real estate and nonprofit. And it's pretty darn cool. It helps you build all these things if you don't have them. But I'm guessing just because of the group and the people that I'm talking to, you already have your ICPs built out. So keep the conversation going. I want you to talk to it like it's your best friend. Mine literally says, "Hey, bestie," when I sign in every day. That might not be how you want yours to talk to you, but I want it to talk to you how you would talk to your bestie or how you would talk to a friend. So keep the conversation going constantly. Give it pushback. It will tell you what you want to hear unless you say, "Hey, I need you to tell me the truth. What am I missing?" So here are some prompts that you can give. Again, I'm not going to read them to you to push back on the AI, to continue the conversation, to get it go deeper into the nitty and the gritty with you. Then, as you're having these conversations, so in ChatGPT specifically, you can see these conversations here over on the left-hand side. These are all of the conversations that you've been having. What I like to do is keep all of these same themed conversations in each one of these little areas and name it as a recipe, right? So name it, save it, and keep using it. So let's say I'm a pizza shop. Every time I talk about pepperoni pizza and our specific pepperonis, I'm going to have the same conversation. I'm going to name it there on the side. So this one says social media ROI analytics, but let's pretend like that says pepperoni pizza. And anytime I want to create pepperoni pizza content specifically, I'm going to go back to that conversation and I'm going to have that conversation there. Why? Because AI is iterative. It has that machine learning. It's constantly getting better. So the more you talk to it, the more you use that theme or that conversation, the better it will get. Alternatively, you could use your custom GPT and have all your conversations there. People do it differently. I'm in a mastermind where we're kind of split. Some of us talk only to our custom GPTs about everything because we want them to kind of be omniscient and all-knowing. And then some of us like to split everything up into these little conversations or themes or recipes, whatever you want to call them. Now, once you have your ICPs, I want you to build targeted strategies. So again, you're a travel expert, you're a seasoned and award-winning, right? We're always award-winning, even if we're not. You work at a leading travel agency, you give the information, you say who your ICP is. Your ideal customer profile are millennials because they travel the most, taking an average of 35 vacation days per year. This is an actual stat, by the way. Wow, who's taking 35 vacation days per year? I digress. Build me a social media strategy that is travel and millennial focused, where the content will draw the attention of our specific ICP and entice them to engage with our post. So it's not build me a post. It's not build me a content calendar. It's like, hey, build me a strategy around this specific ICP where the content is going to stop the scroll and make them engage. And here's what I got back. So again, I want to play the quick video. This is the prompt that I gave it. Now look at this. Social media strategy for ALGV to attract millennial travels. Understanding the ICP, key goals and objective, content themes and ideas, destination highlights, travel tips and hacks, client testimonials and user-generated content, exclusive offers and promotions, behind-the-scenes content, social media channels and tactics. I didn't ask for this, but it's telling me where that millennial audience sits. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, right? It's giving me now a place to focus my attention by platform. Engagement and community building, interactive posts, respond to comments and messages, collaborations and partnerships. Then look at this. I'm getting an entire monthly sample content calendar. I did not ask for that, if you recall the prompt, but it's giving me this, right? So it's getting better every time I'm having that conversation in the same area. So use your ICP. And then one of my absolute favorite prompts, especially if you're keeping it in the recipe or if you're using the custom GPT, is to say something like this: considering all of the above and noting your sample content calendar, can you create a 3-month execution plan with a list of social media posts for Instagram that will meet our goals? Considering all the above is great because as you're talking to the AI, sometimes it forgets, right? Unless you're going in and like priming it and setting it up, which is a whole other thing, it can forget things that we talked about. So when I say considering all of the above, and I've had that conversation in that recipe for weeks, months, years, it will go back and it reads everything we've previously talked about and then comes back down and delivers that action. So again, here's the 3-month execution plan by week and day, and it's pretty darn good. I'm not going to copy and paste it, but it's pretty darn good. So, influencer and thought leadership case study. It is so important, especially now with AEO, answer engine optimization, where the AI is coming up with the answers in search, that you have your thought leadership, your personal brand. Maybe it's employee advocacy, maybe it's a paid influencer. I don't care who it is, but this influencer and thought leadership or personal branding is so important to what's coming with AI. So I'm going to show you a little case study. I knew that with AI, my face, my voice, me doing things like this or being on stages was going to be more important than ever because it shows that there is a human behind what we're doing. Yes, we use AI. I love AI, but it's important that the human stay integral. In my world, it's human at the center of AI, not AI at the center and the humans around it. So I wanted to make sure that, again, my face is everywhere essentially so that people understand my voice, my way of thinking, and that I'm a human and a thought leader. So I decided to do a quick video series. I hate video, but I was like, you know what? People need to see my face. So I asked AI to write a LinkedIn show where I am hosting a video for 2 minutes or less, right? This is how much I hate video. I was like, let's make sure it's only 2 minutes or less for social media customer care. I told it would be posted to LinkedIn every week. We're going to call it Brooke Bites. And it's like quick news about trends and digital customer care and social media. And I want it to be a space where watchers can get to know me on a more personal level, right? Humanizing the brand, hear about my book, and learn about my company, B Squared Media. So the tool that I'm using here, as you can see, is ChatGPT. And the prompt was writing me a show intro. So it gave me the show intro. Welcome to Brooke Bites, your weekly LinkedIn bite-sized show with me, Brooke Sellis. Each week in 2 minutes or less, blah, 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 right? So here's the result, and it's pretty darn good. I zhuzhed, of course, because I never copy and paste. And then I'm like, wow, okay, so now that you've written me this really cool intro and you've got the idea, can you write me the script too? Like, do I even have to come up with a script or can you do it? So I said, hey, considering all of the above, write me a new script for an episode about community where the message is that community building is actually hard and the customer and or community loyalty is not bought. It's actually earned over time through genuine connection, engagement, and trust. So again, the tool is ChatGPT, and I asked for a show script. It delivered a beautiful script. Here's the funny part. It says, I'm going to read you just a little bit. Brooke Sellis stands amidst a backdrop of interlinked circles symbolizing connected community. And I'm like, oh man, it's like writing me like a TV script. I don't have all of that behind me. I'm sitting here at my desk. That's all I've got. But that's still cool because the non-techie cool fill-in things of it, the script itself was actually really good. So I'm like, wow, this is really cool. This seems like this is going to work. I can do this, right? So I'm still using ChatGPT, which is either free or $20, depending on what you're using. Then I'm like, okay, now we have to create the thing, right? So I want to boost sales through this video, and I'm going to have to use Canva because we all know we need some pretty marketing materials around what we're doing. So I went to Canva and I made a template to have the artwork covers. So since it was going on LinkedIn, this was before LinkedIn had vertical videos. I had it horizontally created, and you can see it's like, here's the fun title, and here's where I go in and I edit, the title of the video and the little subtitle if I want to. So now I've used 2 tools: Canva, cheap; ChatGPT, cheap. In some cases free. Then I started using Descript. Descript is the most amazing tool. I can't even tell you, and it's nominal. I think I pay like $40 or $50 a month, and that's because I have team members. My podcast producer is on the tool with me. If it's just you, it's even cheaper. But I went into Descript, filmed the video in Descript with my camera, using the script that ChatGPT wrote me, and Descript allowed me to keep my eyes on the screen. Even if I had to read the script through a few parts of it, it allowed me to add music and intro and outro. It allowed me to add little GIFs and whatever. It is so easy. If you can use a Word doc, you can use Descript to do this. So I filmed in Descript, and then I had the video ready to publish. So 3 tools. We've got ChatGPT, Canva, Descript, cheap. I am not talking about an expensive process here. Cheap, cheap, cheap. What happened after I started putting out these videos? I got this note on LinkedIn. It's from a woman in Australia or South Africa. Sorry, South Africa. I don't know anyone in Australia or South Africa. And she basically had been watching my videos, and she was like, hey, we need someone to train our customer care team for social media because they do very important social care for this road that they have. This is how much the training was worth. So it took a little time. It took a lot of guts, right? I don't like to be on video. It took a lot of guts. It took a little bit of time, but not much because I used AI. And this was the result. Little bit of money, lot of bit of return. So I want you to think about that as you think about creating your content. Now let's get into social media engagement real quick, because everybody says social media engagement is dead. And everywhere you look, you see it in the headlines: social media dead, ad week. Here's what you can do about organic reach and decline. Hootsuite, Business Site Insider, social media is dead. But is it really? It is not. The number of people using social media keeps climbing, which is wild because it's already so many people that use social media. So my thing is, social media isn't extinct. The way we engage on social media has evolved. It's not new anymore, right? I'm a dinosaur in the social media world. We've had it forever. So the consumers have changed the way they use it. It used to be clickbait and kittens and puppies and food videos. And yeah, sometimes that still works on certain platforms, but not on every platform. They're a lot more uh, discerning about how they use social media. We have the silent lurkers that we've always had, but we now have people who are shopping more on social. So they're looking for deals. They're joining in on conversations with brands. And literally, we know that even B2B brands use social media the most. It's the most used channel to research new brands and make buying decisions. So we know that they're spectator sporting us. They're looking at those conversations that we're having with our community. They're looking at that content that we're creating, and they want to know if we're stopping the scroll and if we seem like we're a fun brand to engage with. So I love engagement. I love analytics, but I also know I'm a human and I make mistakes. So I asked ChatGPT to help me with social media engagement. These are all of the messages on social media that came into one of our clients, which is a financial brand. They're a credit union. And I want you to say, and I said to the AI, or I want you to say to yours, looking at the messages above, I uploaded it as a spreadsheet. This is your prompt. The role: you're an expert social media marketer at a bank. I obviously had their name in, with a focus on engagement. With your skill set, you excel at sentiment analysis, content behavior, including reactions, comments, shares, conversations, and messages, and identifying which content performs best based on high engagement numbers. Please analyze these social media conversations for engagement and look to see if you can find the underlying reasons why the content performs well or does not perform well based on engagement. Come up with a comprehensive plan to address the most engaged content and what types of content we should be creating in the future to boost engagement numbers, because we know that's the number one metric on social. And this is what it did. It gave me the analysis of the conversation, right? Customer service replies, number one. This is why I'm constantly talking about social care. It is the number one thing social is used for now. Social media is not content anymore, it's conversations. Event announcements, that was a big one. Educational content, yay, we love this as a brand. Recaps and milestones, interesting. People really like to see that type of content. And then problem solving content. And then it gave me the comprehensive engagement plan. Here's how you can enhance customer service visibility. Here's how you can do an educational series for financial tips. Here's how you can create more user-generated content. Here's how you can create more behind-the-scenes content. Here's how you can create incentivized sharing. So it literally built the engagement plan for me to capitalize on what our customers said already stopped the scroll for them. They engaged because they wanted to. It enticed them to. So how do we capitalize on that? Now, I also asked ChatGPT about social media metrics. And this is an interesting thing. As it was looking through all of this data, I was looking at content and engagement trends. I was looking for recommendations for further analysis. So I literally said, hey, what am I missing? And that's where this recommendations for further analysis comes. You always have to give the pushback. But this is interesting. This was in January of 2024, and it said correlation analysis. Net follower growth has a weak correlation with the most engaged metrics, indicating that daily changes in followers might not be heavily influenced by engagement. So, what they're saying in a few words, layman's terms, is it's not the number of followers. The number of followers actually doesn't do anything with engagement. You need less followers and more engagement. And then in April, 4 months later of that year, Mozeri, who is the head of Instagram, come out and said follower counts matter less than view and like counts. Follower counts matter less than engagement. It's not about the vanity metric. I know that you've probably heard that for years, but we're all still stuck on it. And it literally is engagement. How much engagement can you get on your social media content? So I want you to continue the conversation as you're thinking about all these things with using ChatGPT or your LLM and your social media strategies. Considering all of the above and knowing that you're an expert social media marketer with a focus on engagement who works at a top travel agency, help me with the following. Based on research, you know conversational social media posts do best for engagement. Come up with 10 posts that will spark conversation with our social media audiences. Explain in detail why they should work to boost conversations and thereby engagement. And it will do the heavy lifting for you. It gave me 10 conversational social media posts for engagement based on my company, based on my ICP. And it's also not just giving me the what and the how, but the why. Why does this work? And that's what most marketers have the hardest time with. We know the what, we know the how, we know the who, we know the when. A lot of us don't know the why. So I like to say that we should use AI not to make us more efficient, but to help us with where we're deficient. So if we don't understand the why and we have a hard time with that, let's use AI to help us figure it out. Again, continue the conversation. I cannot stress this enough. Every time you get a prompt back, every time you prompt and you get a response back, think about how you can continue the conversation. Create 10 more of these, but this time, and then give that line of context. What else should I consider for creating two-way conversation on social media as a travel agent or agency? Action prompt. If you were in my shoes, I love this one. As a social media marketing expert, asking AI, specifically this model, ChatGPT, for outcomes, how would you build your prompt? Make AI build you the best prompts to prompt it with. You don't have to do any of the heavy lifting anymore. It's your sous chef. It's doing all the chopping, cutting, all of that heavy lifting. It's doing for you. Make it do it for you so that you are the creative chef who's coming up with that beautiful dish that no one else can come up with. You know, you've heard the old cliche, like you can have all the ingredients, but it still doesn't make you a chef. AI has all the ingredients, but it still doesn't make it a chef. So you could also, by the way, this is one of my favorites, especially here lately. We just did a social media audit for a major healthcare brand, and it's a tough space right now, especially with like tele nutrition and things like that. So we did a deep dive on their competitors' social media because it's public, right? All of those conversations are out there on social media. So we used AI to help us look at competitor posts. We looked at those conversations, we looked at those engagement numbers, and we asked the AI to tell us, hey, what are you seeing? What's good? What's working? What's bad? What do they hate about these competitors? Because if we know that, we can run a differentiated campaign to talk about how, you hate that they do this. Well, we do this, right? So the ultimate goal I want to leave you with today is that you have to pivot from the number of notifications on social. It's dopamine. I get it. It's literally how it was built. Facebook knows what it's doing. It's like a drug dealer. It gave us the freemium model and we were all hooked. And now we're looking for those notifications and we're looking for those follower numbers and we're looking for those likes. But it's the quality of interactions that matter the most, the conversations, the deeper engagement, the shares, people asking those sales support questions or those retention questions. If you want, I have a free course, totally free, on creating content that helps you connect. I have a ton of examples. I give you all of our frameworks. I talk about my thesis work in my book, which is all like literal science on how we connect and why we connect the way we do on social media. So you can scan this, that's in the PDF, or reach out to Sean. He's got all the links and check it out. And then lastly, I want you to think about everything that you've seen me do here today. I've used myself. I've used my clients. I've used a travel agency. I don't know anything about your business. I've given nothing, no kind of context for your business. So imagine you're putting yourself in my shoes now with everything you know about your business and doing all of these things with AI. It's going to be incredible for you. And I cannot wait to see what you do. Here's what I hope you do. You use RACE or one of those prompts that I gave you for strategy. Make sure that the very first thing you do, if you don't already have it, is to create those ICPs, ideal customer profiles. Analyze conversations. If it's not happening on social, give it emails, whatever you have. Let it start to understand what your ICP is saying, how those conversations are working. And then I want you to focus on social media that puts engagement first as the most important metric ever on social media as a leading indicator for churn and burn, and gain and retain. You will get so much out of it. And if you start looking to social media in that way, conversation versus content. But for the content part, use AI to help you do it. Okay, I'm done.